I was going to high school in the Mission, and I grew up during a time where
to Castro,
you had to be very
because
conscious of
I consider myself gay, and
job as a desk
I went
clerk.
to the Castro.
I'm looking forward to that job. I've got good customer
Prior to
skills.
that, I
I've had
owned a
good customer
home.
skills for years.
I was never homeless before.
I enjoy
I lived in
Diamond Heights. And when I was
Mission Housing had its beginning back in 1971 and grew out of an organization called the Mission Coalition Organization. The Mission Coalition Organization was a response to the redevelopment agency's efforts to change the entire Mission community to something different. The people in the Mission had witnessed what the redevelopment agency did in other parts of the city, and they didn't like it. The Housing Committee of Mission Coalition Organization evolved into Mission Housing Development Corporation. Some of our first work was done in helping residents stay in their units, negotiating landlord-tenant disputes, helping landlords upgrade their units to meet code, things that were standard for any community to live and breathe and be safe. We found out that not only were residents in need of support, but they were in need of housing as well. There weren't enough units to go around. So Mission Housing developed its first affordable housing project in 1974 at the Battelle Apartments on 24th and Potrero. And that was really one of the first, if not the first, affordable housing developments anywhere in San Francisco.
Mission Housing currently owns and has developed 35 buildings, 30 of which are in the Mission District, and the remaining are scattered throughout San Francisco. Our focus is in the Mission District, but we believe in affordable housing for everyone, and we want to provide that wherever it's needed in San Francisco. So we have a property down in Soma by the baseball stadium. We have the first 2 SROs ever in the South Park, and the majority, though, of our presence is in the Mission. Mission Housing serves approximately 3,000 residents. Our most robust department is our resident services department. I'd like to add our most robust and our most important. Mission Housing Development Corporation's mission is to provide high-quality, sustainable housing and resident and community services for the low-income communities of the San Francisco. And through that, it's only possible because of our robust resident services department, which engages not only our tenants, but the surrounding neighborhood nearby each property, because we believe it's not just about housing. It's about enriching the lives of everyone that lives not only in our buildings, but in the surrounding neighborhood. It's not officially stated, but I believe the mission of Mission Housing is to be an anchor and a support system for anyone in San Francisco that needs it. One of the things I'm the most proud of is that anyone, whether you live in our buildings or not, can feel comfortable coming to Mission Housing if there's a problem that needs solving, or if they just need a general support system. We are trustees for our buildings. We might own them legally and we might operate them legally, but in our opinion, the community owns our buildings, and whatever we can do to use that fact to help as many people as possible is what we're going to do.
No, mi vida cambió mucho desde hace ya casi 15 años de estar viviendo en Mission Housing, con los apartamentos de Mission Housing, porque eso me ha beneficiado mucho, pues ha sido para mí una gran ayuda el saber de que Mission Housing ayuda mucho en lo económico, porque estás pagando el 30% de lo que estás, porque tengo la oportunidad de vivir en sección 8, entonces Mission Housing tiene mucha ayuda en ese aspecto. Difícilmente vivir en San Francisco, porque he visto en otras familias que se la pasan muy mal, y yo me siento muy bendecida de estar viviendo en estos apartamentos que tiene Mission Housing, porque es un gran favor que estén en la misión prácticamente, y también en San Francisco, porque aquí es muy cara la vida y Mission Housing es una bendición. Yo siento que si yo busco ayuda con el departamento de Mission Housing, encuentro la ayuda y ahora mismo yo tengo muy buena comunicación con la manager y también con los trabajadores de mantenimiento y la persona que ha llegado pues es también muy amable, Raquel. Sí trabajo con el departamento del banco de comida y pues soy voluntaria con repartir los alimentos los jueves. Por supuesto, podemos tener el ejemplo de mi hija mayor, que es Fátima. Ella estuvo en las primeras etapas de su preparación. Yo trabajaba y entonces yo pagaba sus estudios porque podía, porque me permitía por el programa de Mission Housing de que podía pagarle sus estudios.
I moved into Mission Housing when I was 11. So I grew up in the Mission during a time where you had to be very conscious of the color you were wearing. You know, were you wearing red or blue on a particular day? Because if you were in the wrong place at the wrong time, bad stuff happened to you. And as a young Latina woman, I had to be even more conscious of that, I felt. So for me, Mission Housing was a safe haven. It was a place that I could call home. And I think having that kind of stability was really huge because, you know, despite the violence that we were seeing in the community where we lived, at least I didn't really have to worry about that as much when I came home. So I was able to focus more on school. I think I was in honors the whole 4 years that I was in high school. I was fortunate enough to have college counselors who really looked out for me as well, saw my potential, and together with the college counselor and also with the manager that we had at Mission Housing, I think they really had an eye out for me and really pushed me to go forward. So I was fortunate enough my senior year to find a scholarship that was able to give me a full ride to go to college. Was able to graduate in 4 years. Didn't have to worry about having to also work to help my mom pay rent for our housing because it was taken care of, much like school was. So thankfully, I was able to graduate, no loans, and was still excited enough to go back to school and to push my own limits and then pursue grad school. I just graduated from Columbia University, got my master's in international education development, and now I'm looking for ways to give back. I want to make sure that I can help other low-income families succeed, but also find opportunities within education as well. Having grown up in low-income housing doesn't have to define you, doesn't have to be a stigma. You can really push yourself a lot more, and you'd be surprised to know what you can achieve. If I wouldn't have had the opportunity to live in Mission Housing, I think my opportunities would have gone out the window. I don't think that I would have been able to finish 4 years of college. I don't think that I would have been able to even consider an Ivy League like Columbia as an option as well. I would have probably been really stressed out about money. I still am, but to a lesser degree because of Mission Housing. I think that I would have probably had to take on multiple jobs just to help my mom pay rent. I've been thinking a lot about what the future has in store for me. I'm engaged, and now I'm thinking of the life that I'm going to be able to create for myself, the life that I hope to give to my family one day. And my hope is to be able to thrive, to be able to take my education and be able to have a career, be able to feel proud of everything that I've accomplished. I know my mom is proud. I want to be able to make sure that I can support her in the years to come, and that I can now create even a more solid foundation for my kids one day. And I'm also looking for ways that I can give back and really help other youth in my building and also within Mission Housing as well to teach them and to share my story, to let them know that they can really do whatever they dream of. You know, it doesn't have to just be this far out dream. And you shouldn't take living in the building that we live in for granted, because maybe in more ways than one, it's giving you that stability to do whatever you're doing now, whether that's finishing high school, whether that's thinking that college is an opportunity, and so maybe now you're being able to finish your college applications. You know, being there, being in Mission Housing gives you a lot of benefits. And I think it's just about being thankful for what you have, but also knowing how it's gonna be able to help you build your own future one day.
The difference between the Mission community now and the way it was in the beginning when Mission Housing evolved into servicing housing needs of a community are pretty much can be summed up in the economics of today and the economics of then. A typical flat back in 1971 would rent for $300, and a family of 4 or 5 could live there, and they were all over the Mission. Contrast that with today. Some 45 years later, rents are now $3,000 for that same unit, a whole 10 times more than what it would have cost you in 1971. Now, if you look at salaries and what people make, their salaries have not increased 10 times. A person making $20,000 in 1971 would have to be making $200,000 today. That is not happening.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Galloway, and I'm from the Apollo Hotel on Valencia Street. I was at home in New Jersey, well, at my brother's house in New Jersey, and back in 1996, 97, and I was watching this TV show called The Real World San Francisco, and this little guy in there named Pedro said, "Come to San Francisco and live with a house full of strangers, and you see how the real world operates." So that's what I decided to do. I got rid of all my clothes and quit my job in New Jersey, and I came to San Francisco. But anyways, I came here and I went to the Castro because I consider myself gay, and I went to the Castro and I asked myself, where do people who don't have no place to sleep go? And they was like, go to a hotel, whatever. I said, I don't have enough money to go to a hotel. So they sent me to recommend that I go to Glide Methodist Church. And so I stayed in the shelter like 2 years. I've been here since 1997. No, I'm wrong, by 1999. Right now, I'm volunteering for this organization called Food Runners of San Francisco, who comes and delivers food here, and I distribute it to the tenants in the building and clean up most of the time. It keeps me busy, and it helps us to stick together as a community. And while I'm at home, I do jigsaw puzzles, and these jigsaw puzzles, they helps to keep me out of the street too, and it keeps me at home. The tenants seem to like them, so I continue to do them. I also do some drawings, pictures, portraits, and worked on my bicycle a few weeks ago. I took and taped it up with duct tape, and this way nobody wants to steal it. Living in the Apollo Hotel has kept me stable here. I really like it a lot, and what lies in the future, I don't know yet, but I'm just going to continue to take my medications and exercise more. Because people say that swimming is something, does something to your body or something. But anyways, I want to work on more on my exercise, because this is California and everybody works out here and stuff like that and eating healthy and good and things like that. But I want to make my life much better. I want to quit smoking cigarettes and stop hanging around with these people that I don't need to be hanging around with. I'm beginning to live here. I'm here to stay. I don't think I'm going anywhere else. I like San Francisco. The housing is here is comfortable. I mean, living here is comfortable, safe, clean. So if it wasn't for them, Mission Housing and Housing Authority and Miss Jessica Hickerson and them, I'd be in jail somewhere, in prison somewhere, busting rocks and making jewelry or something, license plates or something. I would.
Yo soy originaria de El Salvador. Yo estudié medicina en mi país, yo quería ser médico, pero la situación era tan mal en mi país porque la delincuencia la educación y todo, es bien difícil. Entonces yo tomé la decisión drástica de venirme a vivir a este país. Yo le dije a mi mamá, ¿sabes qué, mamá? Yo me voy a venir para acá. Si me toca dormir debajo de un puente, voy a dormir debajo de un puente. Si me toca dormir en la calle con mis hijos, pues voy a dormir debajo de la calle con mis hijos. Y me da cosa y me pongo un poquito sentimental porque yo digo, era una decisión bien drástica, quedarme o venirme, porque la vida era muy difícil allá. Mis hijos corrían peligro allá. Me acuerdo que fue un 10 de mayo, un 8 de mayo. Y andábamos locos nosotros que ya teníamos donde vivir. El edificio donde yo vivo se llama Rick Soto Combination. Tengo 16 años prácticamente ya de estar aquí viviendo. Todo está a la mano, el servicio de transporte, todo tenemos acceso a todo lo necesario. Y pues es una comunidad muy bonita. Vivir aquí, estar aquí, porque eso me permitió que mis niños tengan un hogar, un lugar estable para estar, estudiar y ser alguien grande en esta vida. Si Mission Housing no existiera, para mí sería... Es como que si el mundo se me terminara, porque es como no tener los pies en la tierra, quedas en la nada, porque para mí Mission Housing es mi casa, mi hogar, el hogar de mis hijos, el hogar de mis amigos que están aquí.
The makeup of the Mission community has changed. In the 70s, the Mission community was about 70% Latino. It had a very, very thriving population that seemed to all be lower or middle income. Nowadays, the Mission community is probably less than 50% Latino, has disparities between the very low income and very, very wealthy throughout the district, putting a lot of pressure on landlords to get the highest rents wherever they can or sell their properties for the highest amount they can sell it. So a family that would have been able to afford to rent a place in the Mission and then buy their own place back in the 70s cannot do that today. They're just priced out. When you add the services that people require, you have a different mix of needs. When the community was 70% Latino, the needs in the community had to do with needs that provided the kind of foods that people eat, services they needed, repair shops, small businesses that sold clothes, restaurants that were affordable. Contrast that again with today, and those little businesses are no longer needed. One example is 24th Street was famous for having its panaderias, Mexican bread. There was probably 5 or 6 panaderias on 24th Street back in 1970. Now you have one left, and that one is struggling. The changes are stark, and unfortunately, they're not. The city is not addressing the needs of the people. I heard of a small little pop-up cafe on 24th Street was serving coffee, to people, all the different kind of coffees that people drink. Walk up, there's no place to sit, you just walk up and order your coffee. And they were selling a donut with bacon for I think it was $4 or $5. Now, I got no problem with donuts. I got no problem with bacon. I got no problem with coffee. But how is a person who's working in a restaurant or a baker, or a print shop, paying all the bills they have to pay every month, rent, afford a $4 donut? It doesn't make sense. That is what is happening in our community.
I've been with Mission Housing for the past 8 years, and it has been a very rewarding experience. mainly because you get to get yourself involved, with the residents, with the community, because I came from an industry that had declined and really needed to find something to provide for my own family. And it was interesting that I ended up at Mission Housing because it really took me back to my early beginnings, as well as when my family arrived from Central America. Being able to interact, being able to understand the needs of our residents, being able to go to the sites and learn more about them, being able to connect directly and not just be, at a main office, at a desk, but really going to the roots, understanding what really means when a resident comes to you and says, I'm struggling with this, or I need this kind of service, or I can't afford to pay my rent today because my husband or my mother got laid off. It's very important to really truly understand what's going on with the families in order for you to be able to engage with them and also build that level of rapport so they feel comfortable coming to you. On the operations side, also understand what our staff needs in order for us to deliver what our communities need. The biggest thing for us as in the services department is to make sure that we're meeting and discussing and talking and really strategizing about how we're going to handle each particular site. And they're all different, from our SROs to our family sites to our senior sites. They all have different needs.
Before I came to San Francisco, I was working at the Arizona State Hospital. And then I moved here in 1965. I have my degree in art and art history. And I also have a degree in liberal arts and American studies, which I earned my teaching certificate from state to teach at City College here in San Francisco. I live at 672 Valencia Street, the Alcantara Apartments. It took me 10 years on the wait list to move here because everything is on lottery. I moved here because I needed an apartment that was less than what I was getting as Social Security. And so I was very fortunate because here it's low-income housing for seniors. We have a food pantry on Fridays. And during the summer months, our coordinator and the manager, they get together and we have picnics and parties out in the courtyard. I really enjoy living here. I love it here. It's beautiful. The weather, everything is so close to, close by the stores, the hospital, and the police department is right around the corner. So everything is very nice. Very good location. Several years ago, the other manager, Nubia, came and asked me if I wanted to do some artwork for the senior housing. And I said, well, I don't know what you want. She said, well, do something that is vibrant with color. And so I said, what about flowers? She said, do anything you want, just bring color because the halls are too white. So I managed to do some artwork. I love paintings. And so when I feel inspired by something, a lady that lived downstairs, she came by and gave me an iris. And right away I did this painting from that iris that she gave me. And of course, the Bay Bridge is beautiful, so I'm inspired by certain things in the area that are so beautiful. I taught art here for 12 weeks. And after the graduation, we had a party and I gave them certificates because most of the people that live here had never gone to school, and that was an achievement for them to get a certificate in art. And so all of us celebrated, the day because it was something special for them and for me because I enjoy doing art. As you can see, my house is very humble, but I like to keep it clean. I put some of my work out to inspire me to continue with my art. About 6-7 months ago, Mission Housing had a benefit, and I was privileged enough to donate some of my work. They asked me for 3 paintings, but I donated 5. I did it because I want to give Mission Housing back for all the benefits that I have here in this building, and I hope other people enjoy the same benefits and give something back like I have. And it gives me a good feeling to see that buildings like this exist for people like me. And I'm very thankful for that. If I didn't have this place, I wouldn't know where to go, to tell you the truth. I would probably end up being homeless because I have no other income except my Social Security. Houses like this are so necessary in this city. I mean, we need them. I look forward to living here for the rest of my life if the apartments continue to be as affordable as they are right now. And there's nothing more wonderful than to feel secure. Especially in your late years in your life. We're like a family here. Where else can I go? I mean, this is perfect. This is a perfect place to live, and I'm very happy.
What you're talking about is displacement. And some people feel like it's a natural progression as far as development in the city. Some people move in, some people move out, and they don't see the consequences of that on the city itself, on the families that are being displaced, and on the future of the city. When people are allowed to put down roots, they take pride in their neighborhood, they take pride in their schools. When people feel like they have no stake in where they're living, then they're much less likely to be involved in the community, much less likely to support local businesses, much less likely to feel that they have some type of ownership.
My name is Eric Chuck, and I have been living in San Francisco since the 80s. I was a personal trainer living in Japantown in San Francisco. I was paying so much high rent, and which I was struggling to paying. So right after I got lucky to be moving into this community, and I tried to get back something to contribute to my offer to appreciate it. Someone helped me to moving in. And I have been a volunteer worker for about 6 years, since 2010, right after I'm moving into the building. I helping people to get food from the food pantry, from the food bank every Wednesday. Without the Mission Housing Development Center helping, and I might not be able to living in San Francisco. I might moving out from here, so because the high rent. So much happier since I got help, and I'm still keep living in this city, which I love in my whole life. That's my home now.
San Francisco is not a city that was built yesterday. San Francisco has been around for hundreds of years. Since 1776, the Spanish were here in the beginning, then other immigrants came from Europe, established their roots in San Francisco, built their infrastructure. In the 50s, the Latino population grew, especially in the Mission. Those are the kind of long-term transitions that are normal and actually benefit the city. What's going on now is people can no longer stay where they are, feeling that they're not going to be displaced. I can't tell you how many people I know who have children who grew up in the city and who thought they were going to be able to grow up in the city, and they have to leave. They leave not only their families, they leave all their friends, and they leave their childhood. That's not the type of city that I grew up in. I don't think that's the type of city that we should be advocating for in San Francisco. And it's not a simple problem. A lot of it comes back to economics. Can the city be affordable for all different strata of society? It can be, but It requires a lot of work, a lot of planning, and it requires the will of the city government to maintain that equal opportunity for everybody. And that's what's lacking today. The only opportunity that is equal has to do with how much money you make. If you make a lot of money, you're free to do whatever you want. You're free to live wherever you want, and you also are free to come and go as you want. If you are low income, you have none of those freedoms. So if you can afford to stay, you're good. If you can't afford to stay, you have to leave. And you have to leave everything you've built your life on. I don't think that's right.
We, as the Clinic Without Walls, have established a partnership over the last several years, and we've worked together to implement mental health services at Mission housing sites. Our aim is to provide services to the community, in particular to those populations that have been marginalized or that have been in some way discriminated against. I think having a program like the Clinic Without Walls, where people can receive mental health services, is absolutely fundamental.
San Francisco's always been a hotbed of very high-skilled, high-intelligence, and equally high-paying humans. We attract that type of, we're a place where innovation is asked for and demanded. And because of that, the working class people who are required to, the Twitters of the world need many, many more working class people to keep them going. And it's important because San Francisco was built on the backs of the working class people. The tech hub was built on the backs of individuals who serve food and individuals who wash dishes and individuals who babysit. And they deserve housing just as much, if not more, than someone who was a little bit more fortunate and could go to, had money for college and had a support system. And it's important that Mission Housing is able to provide housing for those communities because it's the support system that comes with the housing.
I born in Kuwait, and originally I'm from Palestine. So after the war between Iraq and Saddam, I moved to the United States in 1991. Unfortunately, I got married through arranged marriage. And since that time, from the first day I got married, it was a failure marriage. So I never felt that I'm getting along with him. And living an abusive life with the 3 kids start affecting their education. My kids, they start failing in school. To be divorced, having very young kids, 3 kids, single mom. She just want to work. She doesn't have food, enough food for her kids, enough cash. She just focused on how to do more hours just to pay the rent. I moved to Mariposa apartment November 1st, 2009. The good luck when we moved here, just to save that part of money, of those hours, to participate in your kids' expenses was a big difference. Now, the kids jumped from 0 level in their school to over even 4. My son, he got 4.46. Lupa, the staff who work with Mission Housing, she's an amazing really staff here. She's very friendly. She's very close to the tenant. She was the one who kept pushing me forward to go ahead and run my own food business. So I still remember that Lupa hanged out the La Cocina information on my door, and she said, "It's about time to start your food business." And now running a fully insured licensed business called Mama Lamis, and it is a catering Middle Eastern food business. And now we have a chance to think about future, how to be a successful family and create a successful business in San Francisco.
I think the success of Mission Housing has to do with that it has stayed on mission. Its mission from the beginning, from the inception, has been to provide quality, affordable, well-maintained housing. And that mission is true today. Also, we provide not only housing, but we provide services to the residents. And that's a super important component of what we do. Because if you contrast public housing, it's cheap, but there's no services there. And you walk into any housing project and it's decrepit, it's run down, and the residents have no pride in where they live. You go into an affordable housing project that Mission Housing has. They are well maintained. The tenants are more than happy to show you what they do there. And you don't see graffiti, you don't see trash all over the place. And you see things like computer labs, child care centers, senior programs. These kind of things support the residents and in turn create a successful living space for them.
Some of the main resident and community services that we provide at our buildings are things like food pantry, before and after school care, help with resume and job work, computer training. One thing Mission Housing really believes in is helping our residents bridge the digital divide that unfortunately permeates through the Mission and other working class neighborhoods. And we have buildings that can have computer labs, that can have internet, and through that we have trainings and for seniors and families alike. We have a lot of partnerships with entities, like the YMCA and Mission Neighborhood Centers, and it really depends on the type of building. As I said, we'll have before and after school care at our family buildings, and in our senior buildings we'll have more services, focused on seniors. At our veterans building, we help teach them how to cook and how to shop for themselves. We do that at most of our SROs. But our resident services department, which is led by Marcia Contreras, the main service that we provide is any service that the tenant needs. If they come to us and they need something, if it's within our power, then we're going to make it happen. And then we're going to try to provide it for everyone.
I live at the Apollo at 422 Valencia in San Francisco. And prior to me living at the Apollo, I was homeless for about maybe 3 to 4 years. Well, since I had everything, right, it's different when you have everything. Like my parents, I never was homeless. We always had a home. My children were never homeless. I always provided. They went to Catholic school. But it was just when I got divorced, then that couple of years is when I had to learn survival tactics. I've been to every shelter in San Francisco. There have been times where I've been, out there. So I understand the concept and the lifestyle of homelessness. I graduated from the SRO Collaborative. I always tell the SRO Club, we are at the Hyatt because it's an awesome place to live, You don't see any needles on the floor. You don't see drug exchanges. We're a community, but it's a diverse community. Thanks to the Apollo, I am able to have a roof over my head. I'm able to refocus my life, to regroup, and to have a place to sleep, and just to, even though it's small, but it's my haven. It's my solitude, and I can do whatever I want. I run, I can come home, knowing it'll be safe. And that's the biggest thing for a female, is to have her own place and not be dependent on a man. I never was, but you don't have to be anymore.
Okay, I'm a Vietnam veteran, and the VA got me into the building I'm in, and I'm very grateful for that because I was homeless for over a year. And so I've only been living here now 4 months. I became homeless. It wasn't the circumstances, it was making bad choices. And that's what it boils down to. making bad choices. And we all have choices in life, you know. You make the right choice, find the good. Make the wrong choice, it's all bad. And I made the bad choice, you know. But I went through it. I picked myself up, got back on my feet, not looking back. You know, it's done. I've done what I had to do, you know, and I'm grateful for that. Yeah. I got into Mission Housing through the VA and through Next Door. It took a year though. You know, I was in a shelter for almost a year before I moved into where I'm at now. And I just dealt with it. I mean, I've always had a positive attitude. You know, things get better if you just keep focused and never give up. And so when they called me and told me about this place, and I had the place, I was very happy, and I was very grateful, you know. And so I'm humble, you know. I'm enjoying my life. Like, I'll be 62 next year, trying to live to be 100. That's just me. I trust Mission Housing. I mean, if they're a good support service, And so I'm grateful for that. And without them, I wouldn't be where I'm at now, to be honest with you. You know. When I moved in, they're the ones who hooked me up with the job that I'm doing right now as a desk clerk. The day I moved in, they asked me if I wanted to work. I said yes, and I was grateful for that because I used to do construction, but with my emphysema, I can't do it anymore, so I have to do light duty. So this was just perfect for me. And so I was grateful that the opportunity came along that I can get this job. The community of Mission Housing is very great. I mean, everybody's looking out for one another. I mean, it's a positive atmosphere, and that's a good sign. There's no negativity. Compared to other places they have, this place here, Mission Housing, where I'm at the Altamont, is fantastic. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Great things come to people who believe, and I'm a strong believer when God gives you a second chance, you don't mess it up, keep going forward, and just be grateful and humble yourself. And that's what I've been doing. Because I met some people in the shelters that have been there for 3, 4, 5, and 6 years, and I couldn't imagine myself doing that at all. No. I'm lucky that I was only there for almost a year. But I see myself as just continue to prosper, having a sound mind, and believing in myself, right? And just having fun, yeah. They have a good program there for everybody. You just have to take that initiative and take that first step. They're not gonna do it for you. You gotta take that first step, and then they're there for you, you know. Some people need a little pushing, a little prodding, but once you get to that first step, you'll be all right. And like I say, I'm grateful. I couldn't have done it without Mission Housing. I could not have done that without Mission Housing. Yeah. Right now, I'm trying to just get my discharge upgraded through the military so I can get me a house. You know, I have a wife, 2 kids, right? And that's my goal right now. It's easier now because I have a roof over my head, right? So I can just, you know, go forward and complete that mission that I'm on, you know, and that's to have a nice little house, you know, and just live this young age, you know. But I'm looking forward to it. And like I say, if it weren't for Mission Housing, I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have been where I'm at today.
The question of why do people deserve the type of support that Mission Housing provides? You have to look beyond the support itself. You have to look at the ripple effects of that support. There's an old saying of a broken window in a community that's not fixed will lead to more broken windows. However, you can look at that and change it. A broken family in the community will lead to more broken families. And Mission Housing helps families stay together. And that leads to more families supporting each other, supporting their communities, and striving for a better life. Isn't that what we want? I think the most satisfaction I get out of working at Mission Housing is knowing that what we do here is affecting so many people in a positive way. I know that because of the work we do, a child is able to live in a peaceful environment, a well-maintained environment, a stress-free environment, supported by services and other family members, they can come home at night and do their homework on the kitchen table without having to worry about sharing a room with 10 other people. I know that young person one of these days is going to graduate from high school. They may go to college, and they may be somebody who will come back and do the same thing for other people and give the opportunities that they had. That kind of satisfaction that one gets from being able to contribute in that way is unparalleled. We see seniors not left out in the street, that once their useful life span has reached a level where they can't work anymore, but they need to be in quality housing. They need to have dignity in their lives, and we're providing that. And we're also giving families a chance to not stress about having to meet a monthly rental payment that depletes their total budget. By the time that they pay their rent, there's nothing left for anything else for the family. And the stress that that creates is eliminated when they're able to live in a project, an affordable housing project of Mission Housing. I mean, we don't solve all the problems of the world, but I think we're doing some good things.